enjoy yourself. You're about to get a message from yours truly. Sit back and enjoy yourself. You're about to hear a message from yours truly. Pure Bama Freeman lifestyle. Hey. You're about to go from city to city. Traveling across this land in love. Pure Bama Freeman lifestyle. Ooh.
What's good? What's good? What's good? What's good, man? It's your boy Bama, man. Known as, for some people, Bama the Traveler. Some even know me as Bama in Brazil. But if you've been following me for a while, man, you know that I'm also known as Pure Bama. That's right. All in all, man, I am a traveler in the broadest of senses, man. So whatever name you're comfortable with calling me, as long as within the confines of respect, I'm all Bama. But anyway, thank y'all guys for coming in, man, tuning in. Yeah, shout out to Shell. Thank you, Shell, for coming through. Appreciate you, appreciate you, appreciate you. And salute to you. Thank you for coming through. Y'all come through, hit the like button, man. If you new, sub to the channel. Sub to the channel. We definitely need you to come through. The most important thing to do is to hit that notification bell, man, and hit that all. You want to get all notifications. Hit the notification bell that lets you know when I'm on. If you don't hit that notification bell, then you may not get any of my live streams. Okay, you may have to just get it on the humbug. You know what I mean? So if you're interested in my content, hit the notification bell, and that lets you know exactly when I'm on. Okay. Thank you guys and ladies for coming through. Again, it's your boy Bama, man. We want to talk about a subject today as it pertains to Charlie Kirk. Yes, we need to talk about that. I don't, my thoughts are really, really, really scattered about it, to be quite honest with you. I will say that thoughts and condolences and prayers and stuff like that goes to his family first and foremost, and also those that support him. You know what I mean? So I want to actually put that out there, as a means of humanity. Um, nah, that video is not for the weak. I actually saw it. One guy actually showed it and didn't even blur it out. I was like, wow, like that really happened. It's crazy, man. It's crazy. But the objective is for us to come on and I don't want to see the disrespect. I'll put it to you that way. I'm not a follower of Charlie Kirk, uh, but I will say that some of the things that he was attempting to do, I can relate to that. I can kind of see why he's doing what he's doing. You know, even though I'm not a Christian, I think that's one thing I will say I don't necessarily care for. But as far as trying to establish traditional values, um, operating within the confines of patriarchy, trying to show strength, resiliency, uh, masculinity, I have to salute him for that. You know what I mean? I have to give him the utmost respect for that. You know, because that particular type of work is really really difficult. You know, especially in America where liberalism has worked tirelessly trying to eradicate masculinity. They have demonized it, and they have really just eroded the foundation of this country. You know, if it wasn't for patriarchy, none of us would be enjoying being in the best country in the world, and that is the United States. Okay. One thing I will say, regardless to our opinions and what we've all witnessed in this country, and you know, a lot of us, we don't care much for the social construct of our country. We see that the social construct is just going by the wayside. And some of us were born to try to help repair this stuff. And Charlie Kirk is one of those guys. You know what I mean? I mean, again, we don't have to agree on everything, but I will say that a lot of us are just born for these types of moments. Not to be assassinated, of course, because of strong opinion, but just the mere fact that you're saying the things that are just unpopular. You're willing to put your reputation, your physical well-being in jeopardy just to push a message that you see as helpful to the American citizen. You know what I mean? So, do it warrant you being assassinated? Absolutely not. I just think that just so far blown away, man. I just don't quite get it, man. Yeah, it was insane. I never saw so much bloodshed. I don't get how America has gotten. Well, I get why America has gotten so soft. You know, people don't want to deal with critical thinking. They don't want to have civil discourse, constructive debates, and I think that what he was bringing to these college campuses was constructive. Uh, when you really kind of look back at his background, that's where he basically came from, was from a college background. You know what I mean? And I think that's where he was. His movement was born. You know, and I'm sure there was a bit of motivation behind that. And so, in my opinion, and I heard Minister Farrakhan say this when I was in the nation, it made a lot of sense. Your truest patriots, or your true fathers of this country, are the ones that's going to be unpopular. Those that are often opposed, those that have many adversaries, are your true patriots. And so, yeah, I mean, you have to when you look at the work that he put in, whether you agree or disagree, a lot of us are not capable of putting in that type of work. You know what I mean? Now you can claim that you can, but we need to see the fruits of that work. And so, again, for the record, I don't agree with everything that he may have been trying to put down. Again, it's just primarily the religious values per se. But the rest of it, I had to rock with him. You know what I mean? Like, especially when he was debating certain black folks that was up there sounding really ignorant. You got guys like him. You got guys like Officer Tatum. Uh, and you know, even Myron from Fresh and Fit. You know what I mean? These guys are going to the college campuses and actually challenging the status quo that is, in my opinion, starting to pollute the American social construct. You know, so you got a lot of these liberals that are in these professor positions. They're starting to poison the mainstream or the bloodline of America. You know what I mean? And that's the reason why we seeing the decay of morality in our country. You know what I mean? Shout out to First Class. What up, brother? What's up with you, man? You know, I think, you know, one aspect that um him and I was just talking about just in the background. And again, it goes to the point that I was saying that a lot of us were just born for these types of moments, and that is to help change what is fucked up. You know what I mean? What is fucked up is people don't want to see that change. You know, there are people that literally don't want to see change. For example, you can see in Chicago, right? You got all these people. We talked about the YNs yesterday. Y'all go check that stream out. And you got these guys that know that Chicago or any other place is dangerous as it is. And they'll gaslight you to believing that crime is going down when in reality, the naked eye says wrong. Crime ain't going down. But they see that it ain't getting no better. And they are going to refuse help from the federal government. All because they want to continue to keep getting subsidies to programs that ain't work for black people yet. That's just money they just want to put in their pockets. That's just the reality of it. You know what I mean? What's good with you, LeVar Star? Hey, salute to you, brother. Appreciate you for coming through, dog. Appreciate you for coming through. And so when we looking at guys, you know, that's in this field of work of trying to make some social changes, the only reason why there is some pushback is just simply because the people are just so far gone, man. So the thing that me and First Class was just talking about was just taking a few people that are salvageable and try to make a social change from that position, starting with our own personal sons, you know, in which I've been working on my son, and I think he's now, since he's gotten out of his mama's house and he's experienced a year and some change of college life, he now is receptive to the things I tried to prepare him since his sophomore year in high school. I really started to delve, you know, kind of ante up the discussions on what it takes to be a man out here. And so none of those words of wisdom didn't necessarily it didn't resonate with him. It had to take for him to actually get out of the bosom of his mother and then being forced as a college student to become a man, you know. And so shout out to my son, man. Shout out to both of them, you know, to be honest with you, you know what I mean? So everybody has their stages. Everybody has a job to do. And so again, with the Charlie Kirk situation, he just had a job to do. Unfortunately, in America, people will try to, well, they will unalive you because of the job that you're attempting to do, you know? And one of the major things that needs to be done in this country is the transformation and the reformation of young men. The reason why we having to do this transformation or this remodeling of the man is because of the system itself rewarded the women sole custody of these young men. And when that young man don't have his father in his life, you would see chaos and destruction. Just the residue of a man in a young man's life is helpful. Even for guys that are splitting time with their sons. It may not seem like you getting to them, but just that little bit of influence is they saving grace, man. Let me say that again, bro. Just that little bit of influence that you think that is not really hitting home with them, it is their saving grace, bro. Because if it was not even just that little bit, if it wasn't even just that little bit, they wouldn't even have a chance, man. There won't be no chance. So again, from that aspect, from Charlie Kirk, I would say I can rock with the message or the attempt message that he was trying to put out. The image that he was attempting to do was to show the nuclear family and showing the importance of it. Yeah, I know he's a white boy and all that shit. I get all that, but we don't have enough of that in the so-called community, especially a public figure that is, you would say, radicalizing the message as well as them showing, what they're preaching about. You know what I'm saying? It's not enough of that. So that is a page that black men can actually take on, which is to, I wouldn't say, I don't even want to use the word radicalize. I would say just being a man that stands on all 10. You know what I mean? Listen, again, if you don't agree with what the point is, this, he stood on all 10 for what he believed in. Now, unfortunately, in this country, they don't want you to stand on all 10. They want you to stand on 5. They rather see you stand on 5 toes. And they want you to goddamn be like old girl on Coming to America, bark like a dog on one goddamn foot. You know? So I think that you got to have more men like that. You know what I mean? That's willing to stand on what they believe in. Don't be goddamn shucking and jiving and and filibustering and sweetening up your words. In which he was an articulate man. He was well spoken and um, but he was a sharp debater, man. I mean, some of the debates that he was having, I was like, damn, he putting cuffs on people. You know? So I just don't quite understand what's the point of the assassination part, because when we all really look at the common sense of it, right? Do we really want to see men playing in the NBA? I mean, women playing in the NBA? Do y'all want to see a unisex goddamn NBA? A unisex goddamn NFL? Right? Do we really want? I mean, just be honest, though. Y'all let me know. Do y'all really want to see that shit? Is that supposed to, like, make our society a better society when we have transitioned people integrating into normal society? Yes, I said it. Normal society. Okay. How is that going to make us better? When in fact, when we see that the more rights these people that live that sort of lifestyle, the more rights they have received, have y'all noticed that the society has gotten worse morally? That's my point on it all. You know? So y'all let me know what y'all think about it. I mean, if you don't know anything about Charlie Kirk, basically a lot of people thought he was a racist. I didn't think he was a racist. It's just my opinion. I don't think he was a racist. I do believe that he was a hardcore Christian though. That was a fact. Oh, he gonna be what they call them boys. The people that was out there. I wouldn't say a colonizer, but he would be more so like a what some people that used to go through. Well, you really couldn't say he was one of them. Some real religious people that was going throughout Africa and the crusade. You know what I mean? He was a Christian crusade. You know what I mean? I would say some shit like that. You know what I mean? Oh, okay. Yeah, he had plenty debates. You know what I mean? But he challenged a lot of the stuff that we was brainwashed to believe, especially with the slavery stuff. And he kind of asked a few black folks that was talking about they was in slavery and all that shit. He's like, "Well, shit, are you a slave now? Like, I mean, how do you know that?" And which to me, that's a valid point. If y'all follow my content, I always sort of looked at it from that lens. You know what I mean? And the only reason why I look at it from that lens is because I did my own personal research, in which I'm still in progress of trying to get more the little bit of clues I can get and try to piece this stuff together. But I will say this from my personal account is that I can only document based off the location my people were at. My third great granddaddy was only in, I wouldn't even say servitude, slavery, or even, I would just say, I couldn't even say if it was sharecropping. Because according to my history in the family, he was basically a do boy, or I wouldn't say a do boy, but a buggy boy. That's what she called it. Auntie Sally said he's a buggy boy, which is like a lot of y'all call him a house ninja. Okay, but you know how long he did that shit? He did it for 14 years, starting at age 17. Okay, prior to them 16 years prior to that, he was a free man. Now, how he got in the hands of the almonds, I don't know. However, though, I do know that he was only in that shit for 14 years. He ended up being, what, about 31 when he was emancipated from that situation. And 12 years after that, he was able to have $3,500 to acquire 50 acres of land. I do know that because it's documented. So a lot of this stuff that Charlie Kirk was trying to present to black people to get them to have critical thinking skills, they took it as he was a racist. All because he aligned himself with the MAGA movement. In which, I don't see what's wrong with the damn the statement. Make America great again. I mean, it's so many layers you could deal with that on. You know? Do you really believe America is great morally? Nobody looked at it from that position. This country has fallen morally. As far as, shit that hey, let's let the trans gentlemen, right? The transformers go into women's bathrooms. It's common sense. No, why would we do that? Put the transformers in female prisons. Why would you do that? Based off of what? Feelings? Belief? No. you know? So these are just small little, I'm giving y'all little tidbits of some of the things that he was attacking as far as the morality of the country. I align with that. I can roll with that. You know what I mean? I do believe we should be trying to work on making America great again. Right now, it ain't great. Well, it's trying to get there. You see? That's where I'm at with it, man. So anyway, y'all hit the like button, man. If you're new, sub to the channel. If you're new, sub to the channel. Thank you, guys and ladies. We ain't got much action on this chat, but trying to get a feedback on y'all on this thing about Charlie Kirk. For those that don't know, maybe throughout the course of the conversation, you kind of get why and who he is. He was a ultra conservative. You know what I mean? He was far. I wouldn't say far right. Yeah, I would say a far right conservative, a traditionalist. You know, a lot of us as black folks probably don't really hold traditionalism like that anymore because we have gone left. We basically have sort of went. I wouldn't even say moderate anymore. We went left or far left, meaning that they have taken on a matriarchal system which allows people just to be people regardless, right? But the far right conservatives, they want to continue with the nuclear family. You know what I mean? Um, they want to keep up with the patriarchy, right? The man should be the leader. Men protect women, men protect kids. You know what I mean? What they call that shit? They said, God, family, and country. It's pretty much their premise. I mean, you can't really knock that. You know what I mean? I think those are probably some solid things to lead a household on. You know what I mean? Politics is so misleading. I just stay away and out of it. Well, to each his own, but it's still gonna govern your life regardless. You know what I'm saying? That's just how it is. You know what I mean? You can take a position like I just stay out of it. Well, yeah, you can by just not talking about it. But how it affects you is something that you can't escape. Because we can go to another country, we can stay in this country. However, every country is led by politics, and so that's really the position I am. I guess as I've gotten older, um, I've sort of involved myself a little bit more into politics to kind of get an understanding of it. But I do know that you can't get away from it. You know what I mean? I was, like I said, being in the nation, we didn't vote, we didn't involve in politics, you know what I mean? We didn't care much for it. However, that by me personally taking that position, personally, it didn't help me at all. You know what I'm saying? It just didn't help me, So that's just all it is, man. What's up, Azriel? Salute to you. He said, America is in its last stages. It's time for the black men to scatter and find new pastures. Um, I'm not. I understand the premise of that. I think it about 3 years ago. I probably would have definitely agreed with it 100%. I think that um, as far as like going to greener pastures or new pastures, I think we all, as real, we're all in that position now, or we're taking that attempt now by potentially creating new families. You know what I'm saying? Because we know socially we can't really build a strong community with the black woman here in America. You know what I mean? So I think we would have a better chance. I'm not saying it's 100% guaranteed. I will say that you will have a better chance outside of the country. You know, so, and I'm not saying that you're gonna have a better chance with some prostitutes. I'm saying with the regular chicks from overseas. You know what I'm saying? So, as far as leaving, uh, I couldn't leave my home like that. I can stay away as long as I need to, but home is home. You know what I mean? And for me to have property here, for me to have historical ties here, native from here, uh, I just really couldn't see myself just totally abandoning that. Uh, but as far as like leaving the community as it's known to be now, yes, I definitely agree with you on that. Because we're not appreciated as brothers. And I think that we should rebuild somewhere else or with someone else. You know what I mean? Let's put it like that. But yeah, man, you on the, you're pretty much right about that. But listen, I do think that when we talk about the nuclear family in America as it relates to black people, of course you're gonna have people still making the attempt to make it or trying to build it. You're gonna have people trying to fix it, but by and large, it's not gonna get fixed. You know what I mean? It's pretty much a wrap. So the Charlie Kirk piece, I don't see that particular type of message working for black people because let's face it, even from a Christian aspect of it, in which he was a hardcore Christian, right? Um, it ain't fit to work for black people. You know what I'm saying? Uh, you've seen the doctrine, you've seen the construct of churches in this country with black folks. It has totally changed. You know what I mean? And so black folks have gone to a full outblown matriarchal system. You know what I mean? They just a firm believer in matriarchy. Whereas other ethnicities in this country is still hanging on to the patriarchy because they understand that that's the only way of survival. You know, but when you have a matriarch system, um, that system is gonna eventually crumble. You know what I mean? There's no stability in matriarchy. You know, it's doomed to be attacked. It's doomed to have a demise. You know, and history has shown that. For anybody that say there were plenty of matriarchal systems, okay, why they're not still standing to this day? You know, if you want to point to the hyenas, hell, that ain't got nothing to do with the black community. You know, hyenas, you can't correlate the way hyenas actually live to how the black community is living. The black community is in a decline and they're stuck at 13%. So that within itself lets you know that matriarchy is counterproductive to the nuclear family. For example, what's the average amount of kids black people have, right? Or let's just narrow it this way. What is the average amount of kids black women are having? Like, how many do they have on average? Right? Maybe one, maybe two at the most is the average. So if it's in single digits or a lower single digit, then how many was they living? I mean, how many kids were they having when it was a patriarchal system? 6, 8, 10, 12. If we would have stayed on that trajectory, we would not be stuck at 13%, buddy. Think about it. You definitely would have a stronger voting power to get some of the things you want, but instead, we chose matriarchy. We want the woman to be the head of the household. So, with that being the case, the message that he was talking about as far as Christianity is concerned, that was not going to help black folks. It ain't even helping black folks now. So, anytime a white man try to come and try to tell them about what could help them recover from the carnage, they're going to look at that white man as racist. See? That's how it is, bro. But when black men start to leave in numbers, in which, we're starting to see this, especially in the last 2 to 3 years, now you're going to have black women trying to pull them back. And even some of these simp enforcers are trying to help them pull us back. But a lot of us is like, nah, I'd rather take my chances somewhere else. I might as well just try this right here. And hey, they utilizing their passports, you know? That's the way I kind of look at it, guy. So what do y'all think? Y'all come through, hit the like button if you're new, sub to the channel. Come through, y'all. The channel is growing. I think last week, folks, I think we ended up with like 8 new subs. And also, I did get on a couple panels. I got on Carlos Red's panel, and then I got on this guy named Fighter Concepts panel. And so, that was pretty cool, man. That was pretty cool going chopping up with a couple guys on there. So, I think I ended up with like maybe 2 subs a piece from them, which is like maybe 4 subs, and then I ended up with 4 subs from last week. So let's continue to grow, man. Let's continue to grow. Make sure y'all hit the sub button if you have not subbed. Hit the notification bell and hit that little arrow right next to it now. And you should hit the word all. You want all notifications to this channel. If you really, really, really follow my stuff, hit the notification bell. Thank you. Appreciate it. My toxic exit, my toxic ass ex sent me a text tonight trying to pull me back. I ain't going. Yeah, it sounds like you going. You entertaining it. Oh man. Might as well, man. Might as well. But especially from that last conversation we had, LeVar, you sound like you kind of taking an indifferent stance on traveling overseas and or the women here is almost like you saying that basically they the same and they ain't really. I'm looking at all of them really the same basically, you know. So I don't see it really no different. All right, man, we back, man. This thing done kicked me off on one of my devices, so y'all excuse me on that. LeVar said, I ain't thinking about these bras, bro. All right, man. He said, I just cut and keep it pushing with my life. I just turned 44 on Monday. Hey, shout out to your birthday, man. Happy belated to you. Happy birthday to you, brother. And hope that you have 44 more. Oh no, man. It sounds like they be on your mind, dog. Oh man. There's nothing wrong with it. I mean, if they on your mind, just for the cut, you know what I mean? I wouldn't be, if they toxic, I wouldn't be, you know what I mean? It's just me personally, but I just leave them alone altogether, to be honest with you. I don't see the benefits of it, you know? I don't quite understand what the hell just happened. It just kicked me off. LeVar said he ain't worried about him. I feel you, bro. You know what I'm saying? See if I can go back from my on my tablet. I don't know what the hell just happened. It just kicked me off. The browser has blocked your mic and your camera. Why? It's crazy. What's good, y'all? Hey, what y'all think, man? Let me know what y'all think now. What do y'all think about that Charlie Kirk assassination, man? I know the video was crazy, man. I just find it kind of weird that Trump they tried to assassinate him and then they actually assassinated one of his biggest supporters, the one that organized all them youth uh, for his campaign. You know what I mean? He was instrumental in that. I just find it weird, man. Yeah, absolutely, man. It's definitely something wrong in the country, man. I don't think a lot of people, a lot of these extremists, they don't see nothing wrong with it. They think that people are just being people, you know. If you let some of these people tell it, they'll go as far as saying it's freedom of expression. Just dumb, bro. This is the reason why I take the stance of just staying out the way. You know what I mean? I remain in my truck and I just keep it moving. You know what I mean? And when it's time for me to break from doing all that work, you know what I mean? I just go on out the country, man. But just merely assassinating a man because of his views is just way too extreme, bro. Yeah, man. Especially, any of us that's a public figure that have like red pill talking points or traditional talking points, like, man, they literally trying to hunt us down, man. They trying to exterminate that idea or ideology. You know what I mean? They don't want to see masculinity being prevalent again in this country, man. That's the reason why I think that they wanted to get rid of Donald Trump, because he was a symbol of that masculinity. You know, regardless if you disagree with him, you can't disagree with him being a masculine man or being a man's man. You know, and they wanted to get rid of that idea. So it all makes sense. You know, I mean, again, if you sit back and you just watch what uh, Charlie Kirk was all about, it just makes sense. They want to get rid of masculinity, man. That's what it really boiled down to. Well, you know what's amazing though? As toxic as they say masculinity is, you never hear them talk about the greatness or the benefits that masculinity provided them. I mean, a lot of people don't recognize the benefits that they have gained from this so-called toxic masculinity. We live, and listen to me, guys. As many problems that we have in this country, people around the world generally would love to be in this country. Some of them would go as far as saying, I would have loved to have been born an American. But you take the American, they so entitled and they so ungrateful. They look around and say, well, how can we make this a bad thing? How can we make the masculine men of our country a bad thing? You don't see them attempting to do that in no other country. You don't see that. But here, oh man, they find all kind of ways to demonize men. This is what's alarming, man. And again, the fact that you have men standing up like a Charlie Kirk, you know, that lets you know that you're not well received in this country as a man, man. Facts. So much stuff going on now. The school shootings that happened right before the Charlie Kirk thing is getting no press now. Yeah, like it's almost like what's next? You know what I mean? What's on the agenda next? Who they trying to exterminate next? You know? And again, the symbol of it all, in my opinion, is the school shooting represented they want to kill off the future, knock off the future. Um, and then they don't want guys like Charlie Kirk, who is a young man who can organize the youth. They don't want him to establish strong or strength or masculine leadership. They don't want that. So those are the symbols that I see. You know what I mean? They want to feminize this country. They want to soften this country. And no, I don't know, bro. Yeah, it was another truck driver trying to get me to. I don't know what he want, man. But yeah, they want to get rid of that leadership, man. Those are the all that symbolic stuff. They just want to get rid of it, man. They want this country to be they want it to be solved. Now, in my opinion, I think there's a I think a lot of these things is connected to possibly foreign government that have been working on softening and weakening America. Who knows? China may be connected to all this shit. You know what I mean? To kill off any strong presence in this country. I could be wrong, but I may not be wrong either. I do think in some ways when you talk about the TikTok, how it has just pretty much eroded the morality and empowered the women, and then in turn the women are trying to be the leaders of the country, and then if the women become leaders of the country, then it opens the country up to being pretty much conquered. I also saw a military video of a UFO getting shot by a missile, and the explosion bounced off the UFO like it was nothing. These are some crazy times. Yeah, I didn't see that. I don't know. I really can't say about UFOs, to be quite honest. But we are definitely living in crazy times, bro. We definitely are doing that. And it's not, you can't avoid it, you know what I mean? So you as a man, an American man, like you just said, DN, I'm just gonna say DN, you gotta keep your head on the swivel, man. Gotta keep your head on the swivel, man, because you are a target. Y'all notice that we're the ones being targeted? Be careful out there, man. You said it was on a mainstream media outlet like Fox, ABC, and NBC. Okay. Yeah, I didn't see it. Yeah, you new to the channel. I remember you now. You came on like one or two streams ago, and you told me you had sub to it. Thank you for coming back too, bro. Coming back through, bro. Appreciate you, man. DN3 30,001. 30,001. But yeah, we living in crazy times, man. Man, be careful, man. Like I said, these last maybe almost 2 years, I would say 2 years, you know what I mean? I've been warning men to be careful, man. You know what I mean? Like we living in a dangerous country. We are an endangered species right now. You know what I mean? Salute to you as well, brother. Salute to you as well, big dog. You know, for the women that's working on behalf of trying to exterminate men, whether it is their reputation or whether it's their physical well-being or their future, as in them going to the clinic, right? Because it's their body, their choice. Y'all catch the drift, right? That lets you know that we're in danger. You know what I'm saying? If you come off as a dominant male, alpha male, a lot of us are working. We're really working hard in this social media space to prove our masculinity and our alphaness and all that other stuff, right? That could be our target. You know what I mean? That could be us being targeted. And that's just my opinion of the matter, you know? But I do know this, guys. We are not appreciated in this country, and we are often hated in this country. And I think just by looking at this situation today, it made me realize further that we have to think strategically because there is an assault or a war on masculinity. And any signs of strength will put you on the radar. So you're going to have to adjust, make concessions to protect yourself, and most importantly, keep your head on the swivel, bro. But in the midst of doing all that, man, make sure you live your life and be happy with what you're doing in life. You know what I mean? Work hard, continue to stay prosperous, and being healthy. All of these things is important, bro. Be careful on who you invite into your circle. A lot of you guys are still participating in this market. Be careful, man. If you come off as some form of a traditionalist, be careful who you're dealing with, man. Because especially in the community, we got so many liberal black folks. If you say anything along the lines like you for the patriarchy, or you think men should be the leaders, or you believe in a nuclear family and all that stuff, you're gonna become a target, dog. We get bombarded with anti-masculinity imagery all the time, especially black males. Yeah, this is what I'm warning these guys about. You know, you gotta be. Look, the picture I just showed you guys. I'm showing you on the screen right there. Is when you start to become happy, man, and women become angry. Even some of the guys that is sympathizers with them, they become angry, and they will begin to plot on you. You know what I'm saying? Once you start smiling in life, being happy, they're gonna find a way to stop you from being happy, man. You know, because men find ways to make themselves happy. Boys don't do that. They sit back and complain and debate and argue with the very people that don't like them. And I've been telling y'all this, man. These women don't like you. How I know that? Look at the amount of complaints. Look at the amount of content is being displayed about your ass. So to stop the content, stop giving it, stop giving them content. Stop dealing with them. Look after yourself, man. Self is the most important person in this life, and once your life is snuffed out, you ain't got nothing left after that. So while you living, you need to make sure you're in the best position and have the best nucleus possible in order for you to thrive and grow. But as it stands now, the nucleus that we once had is no longer that. It's its own separate entity. And they've said this numerous of times, even with, like I played the interview with Ice Cube and Vivica Fox and all of them. They have separated themselves from the so-called black community as their own, and they have established themselves as their own demographic of people. So that within itself should have given you warning that you are out here by yourself, bro. So again, when I reflect back on this Charlie Kirk situation, I look at it as, well, at least his people have a chance because they're still married at a higher rate than we are. At least their divorce rate is not as high as ours is. And the white woman is not she's the most married woman in this country. So they at least got a fighter's chance. But when you look at us, if the black woman is married at 25% or less, then that means that it's getting worse. And it has gotten worse from 83% to now 25% or less since the 1930s. That's not a positive sign, man. They have the most abortions. It's over with, you know? So when you start to see that decline, when you start to see these clues, you should have red flag alerts. Your senses should kick in and say, you know, I may need to reconsider finding different a different avenue. I need to transition to into something else. That's where we at, bro. Ain't no other way around it. You can mock um the solution. You could joke about it. You could talk ill about the men that decided that, hey, this is not for me. But one thing is for certain, you might be the very one that get caught up in the crosshairs because you're not safe because you're a pro uh communita. You're not safe because you want to still be down for your people. That don't make you safe. You just as much in danger as the next man that choose not to do it. You know. So what's the real outcome? Well, it's to be safe as possible and put and give yourself the best option as possible. So we ain't got no partners out here. We ain't got no help out here, bro. You got to stand on all 10. You know, as I close this out, man. Hey, you got to stand on all 10 on whatever it is you believe in. But I will recommend that you assess your life and assess the things around you. And if you see these things that I'm talking about, don't close your ears and your eyes. Don't be in denial. Wake up. Wake up, man. Because I'm gonna tell you, bro. If you continue with that approach of ignoring the fact, you'll be a hashtag. You'll be on a T-shirt. Next, you know, that's the word. So again, um, condolences go to Charlie Kirk and his family, the supporters of Charlie Kirk. Again, man, no one should die or be deleted or assassinated because of their political or moral or religious beliefs. I just think that that's the beauty of this country, the First Amendment being the freedom of speech and expression. And if you can't do that, then you no longer have the United States of America, man. That's the way I look at that. So with that, man, we're gonna land the plane. If y'all don't have anything else, man, any more comments? Any more comments? Any more comments? Are there any more comments? Make sure y'all come through, hit the like button if you're new, sub to the channel. If you're new, sub to the channel. Appreciate you for coming through. DN 30,001. Appreciate you for coming through, brother. Thank you, sir. Definitely make sure you hit that notification bell. Hit the word all on the side right there. Hit that down arrow and hit that word all. You catch me on every one of them, bro. Appreciate you for coming through. And again, thank all of you for coming through. About to get ready to land this plane, get up out of here. Y'all be safe out there, man. Make wise decisions, strategize, keep yourself safe, keep your head on the swivel, and you should be straight. This your boy Bama, man. Bama the Traveler, Pure Bama, all Bama. I'm out of here, bro. Peace.